All right, here we go. March's book haul, only a month late. First up, we got this 1978 Blue Sunshine, Ken Johnson, the movie novelization. I love this movie. It's a crazy kind of, it's always labeled as horror, but I don't know if I'd go that far. Maybe, yeah, I guess psycho killer. It's about people who took LSD in the 60s called Blue Sunshine, and they're having adverse reactions to it 10 years later. They lose all their hair and then just become psycho killers. I ordered this one off of Abe Books. Abe. I've heard people say ABE, but it's spelled Abe. I'm saying Abe. I don't give a shit what they want us to call it. I'm very excited. I don't remember it looking this beat up in the picture on the sell page, but big surprise. Something you order online doesn't look as good in real life. Up next, I got a small group of books from a fellow local collector that I met here on Instagram. Not here on Instagram. We're on YouTube at the moment. Where I met on Instagram. It goes by the Book Abyss. Which, I may have took inspiration from his name for my name. First up is this William Kelling Jr., New Moon. I love this 80s occult looking city artwork. This is a Tor horror. It's from 1987. I read his book Brujo, and there's a review of it on the blog. I was not really a fan, but it never stops me from buying the author's other books. And we got another Tor horror here. James Howard Kunstler, The Hunt. This is a Bigfoot horror book. Cool. I love the how the Tor horror has like the cool fonts. It's very stylistic of their publishing house. It's from, it just says it's from the 80s. I didn't write down what actual year it was from. Up next, the Power. It was an 8-entry young adult series by Jesse Harris about a teenage psychic who gets into spooky mysteries. The Catacombs. I'm not really into young adult books. I was too old for Goosebumps, and I missed that whole thing. When I was a kid, I read Dragonlance. I don't know. I didn't read the youth horror. But I got this for my wife. Thought she might like it, and I like that it takes place in an amusement park. Very Scooby-Doo-ish. So, I don't know, maybe I'll read it someday. And last up from this one is The Space Vampires by Colin Wilson. It's a pocket sci-fi horror book from 1977. A scourge of sex and death from an alien spaceship. It's pretty cool. This is, let's see, it was originally published the year before in hardcover, so 1976. And let's see, Wilson has stated that it is heavily influenced by H.P. Lovecraft and the Cthulhu mythos. And it was also the basis for the movie Life Force. So the next group of books is from the first proper bookstore buy. This is from Bell Book and Comic in Dayton, Ohio. I've saved many times how much I love this place, and every time I go, there's more and more there. I was actually just went yesterday, but actually yesterday there was only 4 books. So hopefully they restock it because I'm running out finally. First up is this Mickey Spillane from 1958. I liked the cover art there. The cover art is by Barry Phillips. Barry. There's Mickey. Cool. And then I got another one, One Lonely Night. This one has a brutal cover art here. They're all tied up. Also by Barry Phillips. It's great artwork. Next is Road Blaster number 3, Blood Ride, Paul Hofrichler. I've got the first 2 already, so I figured I might as well grab the third and final installment in the Road Blaster series. It's like an apocalyptic. I've read reviews. I think I read the review on Paperback Warrior where they're like, it doesn't live up to the idea of it. Where he's not, you'd figure he'd be riding around on his motorcycle across the country, fucking shit up, but it actually sounds kind of boring from the way they described it. I don't know. I haven't read any of them. Up next, we got Martyr by Brian R. Utley. Picked this up purely for the fact that I had never seen the publisher, Curtis Books. This is the first and only edition. It's from 1971. And from my short research, Curtis Books was located in New York City and was only around from 1969 to 1975 and had 96 publications. So I'm not even sure what it is. It's like some kind of sci-fi. Yeah, science fiction. One of my favorite stories from the Men's Adventure Library collection, Atomic Werewolves and Man-Eating Plants, was Theodore Sturgeon's The Blonde with the Mysterious Body. It was eerie and odd and kind of David Lynch-like. And this here is a short story collection from Theodore Sturgeon, Caviar. It's from 1955 and published by Del Rey Books. And I am hoping that it is similar in weirdness to The Blonde with the Mysterious Body. It's funny, when I look at that picture, I kind of imagine that's Theodore Sturgeon sitting there writing these. That's his office. It floats above a destroyed industrial town. Let's see, we're out of order here. We got My Flag Is Down by James Marquesa. It's a 1950 Bantam book about wacky stories of a New York City cab driver. Kind of a true taxi cab confessions of the 40s, I guess. This is one of those where I was just kind of grabbing stuff. When I got home, I was like, yeah, I don't know why I got this one, but it's an amusing cover. I have a werewolf book called Mark of the Werewolf, written by Jeffrey Sackett. So when I seen this Egyptian Curse 80s horror book by him, I didn't want to pass it up, even if the cover art is absolutely terrible. It looks like the paranormal romance of like a vampire or something with his shirt all open like that and the medallion. But I do love Egyptian stuff. Egyptian-centered plots. Oh. Got this nonfiction Exploring the Occult by Douglas Hunt. We usually always grab every cheap old occult book that we can find. Good. I got a new stand. I'm really happy about it because I always wrestled with my old tripod, the cheapies. I found this one at Goodwill for 50 cents, and it is awesome. Anyway, so here we got, Vivian Schilling. I'm a huge Mystery Science Theater 3000 fan, and so when I seen the name Vivian Schilling, I was like, oh, it's the ambitious young woman who wrote Soul Taker. Here, I'll show the picture. So if you've seen that episode, you'll be like, oh yeah. She's the star of the movie. The Soul Taker. As, let's see, originally published in 1994 as a hardcover, and then this is the first paperback edition, published by St. Martin's Press in 1996. It is her debut novel. Dean Koontz better move over. Move over, Dean Koontz. Vivian Schilling's here. It's a cool cover. Why don't you zoom in on it? I actually enjoy Soul Taker. I mean, I know it's like they riff on it and it's kind of silly, but it's not a bad movie. I think some of the movies they do are actually decent movies. Let's see. I added another number into my collection of Monarch books. The Red Planet by Russ Wintelbotham. It's number 270, published in 1960, and it has 2 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. You know, but what do those people know? Beautiful sci-fi art there. I don't know who the artist was on that one. Grab this beautiful, creepy doll books, The Year's Best Horror Stories, Volume 8, from 1980. Edited by Carl Edward Wagner, featuring stories from Harlan Ellison, Charles L. Grant, Hugh B. Cave, Ramsey Campbell, and more. That is an awesome cover. I love that, like a woken corpse, you know, like it just crawled out of the river. If you look, you can see the detail in the face, the sheet, all pulled close to it. Beautiful stuff. Found this savage-looking Viking Saga, The Viking's Revenge, from the Hakon series by Eric Nielsen. Very Viking name himself. There were 4 entries in this series, all published in 1984. This would be pretty brutal. I have a different series called The Vikings that was published a little bit before this time that I really, really enjoyed. And because I have a terrible memory, I thought it was the same author, but after I got home, I realized that it is not. But it's kind of similar in theme, that it's a Viking trilogy, quadruple-eg. What do you call a 4 series? I don't know. And let's see. Last, from Bell Book and Comic, I grabbed this 1942 Buffalo box by Frank Gruber. It's not the most exciting cover art, but what made me really want to bring this home was that it's Bantam number 50. I think it's the lowest catalog number I have found of one of the original paperback publishers. So I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, it's not a bad cover. Almost looks like a photo. The hands do anyway. Alright, so that was it for Bell Book and Comic. So next up is Half Price Books. I wasn't even going to go to Half Price Books as I've been striking out a lot lately there. But my wife wanted to go see if they had a new release book she was looking for. And instead of hitting my usual crime and horror spots first, I decided to take a slow look at the sci-fi section. So I usually only glance there on my way out, and I was shocked to find this 1984 Berkeley Manly Wade Wellman, The Hanging Stones, for $1.58. That is unbelievable. I feel like in any other store or online, it would have been at least $20. Online, it probably would have been even double. So yeah, now I have two of these, the 5 of these Berkeley paperback editions. I would love to get them all. So good. Silver John character. Like a cult folk tale, sort of. I couldn't believe it was $1.58. That was crazy. We got this leisure horror from 1980, Bishop's Landing by Richard Forsyth. The premise on the back of this sounds exactly like the 90s movie The Haunting. So it's a psychologist that gets a bunch of people that has phobias, panic fear reactions, and then he takes them to this haunted house. I read a review of this, and they said it was pretty slow, so that was kind of disappointing to see that review. Probably shouldn't read. I usually never read reviews before I read the book, but it was just while I was looking up the information on it that I came across it. Oh, I've never seen one of these photo cover Mike Shane books in real life, like out in the wild, and I ended up getting 4 this month, so that was kind of crazy. Oh, dropped it. It's close. Oh man, that's so awesome. Is that the word? This one is Caught Dead from 1972, published by Dell. Let's just take a closer look at their outfits. I mean, the ladies look all right. He looks terrible, like he's about to go to a disco. Those white pants. Oh, that's awesome. They had a Travis McGee that I was missing. It was in the clearance section. So I got 1 Fearful Yellow Eye to add to the collection. I have a bunch of these, but I still have only read the 1. I really want to read The Executioners first, though, just because Cape Fear. But I heard that the Travis McGee series is hit or miss, so even though I was unimpressed with the first one, doesn't mean that they're all be. It's not like it was bad either. I don't know. It's held in high regard, and I guess I had higher expectations. Let's get the glare off of that one because that cover is awesome. Grab this Abyss by Kate Wilhelm, which is the Bantam edition from 1973. This actually contains 2 novellas, The Plastic Abyss and Stranger in the House. Let's get closer on that. This cover art looks to be like Lovecraftian mixed with Gothic mystery. Right? Yeah, that's something. Night of the Big Heat by John Lymington, McFadden Books, 1969. It just looks like some trippies 60s sci-fi horror crossover. Horror? Yeah, that's what I say. Kind of looks like this Island Earth monster. I like the colors. It's nice. I have a really beat up copy of this Stories of the Supernatural, so this is just an updated one, just a cleaner one. I was surprised to find out Scholastic put that out. It's the kids. It's a kid's book. Supernatural stories. Also in the clearance section is this sleazy looking 1980s Playboy Press, The City and the Glacier by Robert E. Vardaman and Victor Milan. Book 2 of the War of Power series. I don't know anything about it, but it said a lusty hero. I guess Conan type stuff. There's the fan. Up next is this 1981 AC/DC inspired novel, High Voltage by Thomas Chastain. It's not really inspired by AC/DC. That would be amazing if it was, though. It looks like it's like a catastrophe, like a power outage in New York or something like that, but I think it's actually some terrorists threatening to pull the plug and some cop versus them. This is another one I stumbled upon the review, and it didn't have very positive reviews. Got another horrific looking sci-fi horror book by Murray Leinster. Murray? Creatures from the Abyss, Berkeley, 1961. It's monsters from the mystery of the deep ocean. That premise is like, I don't know, it just always incites like crazy imaginings in my head of what the story could possibly be like. I like the kind of trippy, nightmarish artwork. It's subtle. It's still cool looking though. We got another John Lymington, The Star Witches, McFadden Books, 1970. The back blurb mentions a coven of witches that worship Satan and raise the dead. A scientist who has an electronic device that reaches the outer limits of space, and an invasion of aliens. I just thought it sounded like a black and white B-movie from hell. Some floating heads out in the desert. Magic in Theory and Practice by Aleister Crowley. This one was not a cheap one. This is the classic occult book by the man Mussolini had to kick out of Italy. Fucking lunatic Aleister Crowley. Like I've mentioned before, I was really into Aleister Crowley when I was younger. I read all his books. But this copy is way cooler than anything I had owned previously. And then I was almost on my way out, and oh, that's got serious glare. I was almost on my way out of the store, and then seeing this in the rare section. Which, by the way, if you have a rare section in your half price books, it's not always overpriced books. I think this was only like $10 or so. I actually do have the paperback version of this, but this is the Doubleday original hardcover. and it's beautiful. So I got it. And I think we're up to like 30 minutes already, so I'm going to split this into 2 sections. So that's the end of this first section. And we'll pick up later with the other.